Okay, Marge, I am getting you doing your stuff. And
all right.
I can't think of anything more fun to show people than you having fun.
I know, and it is fun. Well, this started out as 8 pounds of mud.
Yeah.
About 10 minutes ago. And I threw it on the wheel, and I centered it, and then I opened it, and now I'm rising it.
Is there any way to have more fun getting your hands dirty in this life?
I don't think so. I don't think so. It's the closest thing to a Zen experience.
So basically, if you wanted to tell people on a video in terms of the fun stuff they could do, what would you tell them?
I could say they could have a wealth of fun with using their body and their mind and their creativity. And that one of the joys of mud and clay is that it is very forgiving. So sometimes your biggest mistakes end up being your biggest masterpieces.
No kidding.
Because you make a mistake and you go, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And then suddenly go, well, wait a minute, I could do this, and I could do some hand decorative, and I could put a this, and I put that, and you end up with a totally different piece than what you anticipated. And sometimes it just rocks. And the other thing about pottery is there's hundreds of techniques. You don't have to be coordinated and do the wheel. You can make something from a slab of clay, rolling it out like you would a pie. Almost everybody's made a pie crust once in their life. And maybe you stamp it with some textures, and you put it in a shape you like. You got a Safeway meat tray, and you slap it in there, and now you've got a nice tray that is textured, and all you have to do is glaze.
And we're on.
Hi, this is Margie, and I'm in the pottery studio at Little House, and it is a fantastic studio. We have 2 kilns. We teach all levels of students, and we teach all levels of techniques. I'm going to show you right now something so simple that anybody can do it. If you've made a pie in your life, which I think most of you probably have, you've rolled out a crust. We're going to take a fancy Safeway container, and we're going to take our clay that we've rolled out, and we're going to roll some stamps on it. Some of these stamps we made, some of these we bought from a store. It doesn't matter. Most potters have hundreds of stamps they use, depending on the project. And then all we're going to do is flip this piece of clay right into this nice butcher block mold. And then we're just going to form it a little bit. You can be precise and have it exactly the way the mold is, or you can let it go free forming. And I'm just going to show you this fast one. We now have a mold with a very pretty plate. Later on, if we wanted to, we could add handles. We could make it more sophisticated. We could roll more shapes onto it. And there's your 4-minute or less tray that when it's glazed will look absolutely fantastic.
Ooh.
You can also take something like this, and we have fancier molds. And you will never go to a hardware store again and look at it the same way. You'll go into a hardware store and go, oh, this tool could be doing this, and that tool could be doing that. So now you're going to compete with your husband on who stays longer in the hardware store. Now, what I'm doing is this is a mold of a shell.
You could really use a scallop shell, couldn't you?
You could, absolutely. And there is our shell. We're going to press it in more so we get more of the shape. on the outside. And I'm doing these really fast and free. You will hopefully spend a little bit more time getting them fancier. But there's our mold. And I don't know if I'll be able to get her out. Yep, there we go. Now, you would not flip it out that fast. It's too wet. But you can see what you've got. And then you could shape something on the inside. So again, you've got yourself a nice, beautiful container. Could be a soap dish. You could push it up further. You could put it on a pedestal. In pottery, you're limited by one thing. Well, two things. Physics and your mind. You can do anything with clay. You just need to open up your mind to it. We're going to go over and visit Kate, who is my glaze expert. And she takes care of all our glazes. It's called a coil, where she's putting down a foot, a bottom, and she's going to coil clay up. She's literally rolled it out like a piece of dough. She's scoring the clay, which means she's making it ready to accept another piece of clay. She's scoring the other half of the clay, and then she's going to just put it on this thing. And some people, you've seen Mexican art or Indian art where they leave the imprint of the coil, and you can certainly do that. Move your hands for a minute. And some people like that look and preserve it. She has also coiled a large pot, which she did not want the coiling to show. So as she coiled, she then smoothed it out. And now she's in the process of carving a tree trunk into it. So, and again, we were just discussing a half an hour ago whether this pot was begging for some handles. I kind of think it is. I would like to see handles on it, but she's the artist and it's her pot. But that's the joy of pottery. You could start with one piece, and then as it evolves, you decide to make it taller, shorter, wider, thinner, add handles, add, loopy loops, put things on it, and that's the joy of pottery. It's endless. You do not have to be Miss Creativity or Mr. Creativity. Anything goes, and clay speaks to you. So as a piece evolves, you will be evolving with it. This is a good example of what's called throwing, and I made... I'm really having a lot of fun in this studio, as you can tell. These are what's called nesting bowls. I threw them, and they do take a bit of measuring and kind of knowing what you were doing to make those. I also threw this pot, and I love to do some hand carving, just because it's so much fun for me. But I also decided I was getting a little tired of bowls. So I squished it in, and now it's a planter where the plants will flow out from it. I like doing that. Okay. Now this is about maybe 2 pounds of clay or less. And I've shown you coiling, and I've showed you slab and molds. Now I'm going to show you how to throw. What you do, and this is, anyone can learn how to throw, but it does take time to learn. But I have to admit, I'm a wonderful teacher on how to throw. So the first thing you're going to do is what's called centering, in which you get the clay and you get it organized. You tell it who's boss. They're not the boss, you're the boss. And you get it completely centered. When you have it centered, your hands will not move anywhere when you touch it. So this clay is pretty much centered. So we're now going to open it. And basically we're digging for gold. We go all the way down to a bottom we think is fairly safe. And I'm also letting it rise at the same time, but I'll stop doing that, or I'll try not to do that. Okay, now we've got it opened, and we've got our bottom. And now we're going to do some lifting. And that will start defining what this is. And here we go. Up, 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 up. And we're going to fix that top. But we'll see if we can't kind of save it. There we go. We have 2 wheels at the studio, and we're getting more. And we accept donations of wheels because lots of people will go out and buy a wheel and then not like being all by their lonesome. The studio atmosphere is wonderful to work in because you get feedback from everybody. And sometimes you get some fantastic ideas. I've had my students give me the best ideas possible. Okay, there's our little bowl. Not maybe the best I've made, but it will do for our demo. So what pottery does for you is it makes you strong, it inspires you, it engages your mind, body. What more can you ask in life?